What's up, everybody? It's B Doll again, and you know what? This is actually going to be a special video right now I wanted to make, and I wanted to kind of wait a second so I can get every detail I wanted to talk about when it comes to this, but I'm going to be talking about TNA for a moment, and it's been a lot of stuff going on within TNA for the past week, which I can't say has been the most positive outlook on things right now. So, given what I've seen in the last over a week now into this show, and it really just makes you question more and more, which I can't say TNA's had the best couple weeks right now, especially when it comes to the World Championship and everything that is going on right now, especially with Mike Santana and the angle they did. And there was a live episode over a week ago. So let's get into this, okay? Because as we all know, Mike Santana won the TNA World Championship back last month at Bound for Glory in October. And TNA hasn't even really been on TV in the past month since Bound for Glory until like over a week ago where there was a live episode going on. Now I know TNA has kind of done this a couple times in the past before and it looked like they had stopped. It always kind of felt like after Bound for Glory, it looks like they either they had a couple shows still going on, but it'd be like a bunch of clip shows and everything. That usually happens around maybe Thanksgiving time into like the rest of the year near the end of it, just showing all the highlights and stuff. But I thought it was kind of really odd in the past 4 weeks, over a month now, TNA hadn't done any type of shows, okay? And they were going to have a live episode at Full Sail University and everything. So I already thought that was already strange after Santana, beating Trick Williams. It's the new world champion. So he comes back on TV and everything as the new world champion. It was going to face Ryan Nemeth, later on to the show. As for the rest of Impact that night, I can't say it was really that great of a show. Don't get me started with the whole botch finish with Kalani Jordan and I think one of the Elegance brand and whatnot, or a few other things. I know JDC say he was gonna like retire after this year, or like Desmond Xavier returning. I know that's a turning point into the next night and everything. Glad he grew his dreads back. Don't know why the announcer said Desmond Alexander, but we'll go into that in a second right now. And a little bit, I got to say something about Joe Hendry too in the process of all of this. But I think the thing people want to know is what happened at the end of the show. Now, it was Mike Santana versus Ryan Nemeth, and I guess this was a title match or something. And, I thought, Mike Santana was going to win, and that was it. But then next thing you know, Mike Santana gets jumped by all these NXT guys then. And I sit there and I'm like, why are we doing this angle again? Have we not got past this invasion angle of this whole NXT TNA war and whatnot? But here's what makes it worse out of all of this. Because number one, this wasn't even any type of top NXT people like Trick Williams or others that we've seen on this show. These were the damn, if you've heard me call these people the D-League when it comes to NXT, this was the super developmental right here. And I looked at these people, I'm like, I don't know who half these guys even are that guy. I'm like, who are these random people beating up Mike Santana with what, Robbie E leading the charge? I literally had no idea what was going on. And then I looked, I was like, okay, it was like two guys I was running with, like Wesley, Desmond Xavier at first. I think Brian Pillman Jr., Stacks, I guess, and some other people. And I'm sitting there looking at this like, where's the TNA roster helping? Where's the Order 4? Where's the System? Where's several other people that couldn't came out? All I saw was like Steve Macklin, the one-man town. Oh my God, I can't even remember his name. The one-man something, hometown man, okay? And maybe the Rascals, I guess, but they got Mike Santana getting jumped by these super D-League cats out here. And then Kazarian coming out, cashing in his call your shot thing. Because somebody beat up Nick Nemeth earlier, well, not early in the night, but before anything had happened. And Kazarian came out there and cashed in to win the TNA World Championship. Now, here's the thing. It's a lot of things to unpack here in all of this, okay? I think this is a very stupid decision to get people pissed off. I don't understand the meaning of this. First off, you've been off for over a month. You just came back on live TV. Santana has had no type of like title defenses or anything. This is the new world champion that you have taken your time to get over for several months now. Hell, ever since he's been coming back to this company, you have been building this man up to be the guy, to be the flag bearer of this company and whatnot. and now you just kind of pull some bullshit off like this. Even throughout the whole NXT stuff with Trick Williams, I get the story where it was going. Yeah, it got annoying after a while, and I still think he probably should have won back at Slammiversary in New York, which maybe would have got a bigger pop, but he wasn't pinned, so I kind of understand why they kept this thing going and whatnot. But it's like it almost makes you wonder, like, what was the point of beating Trick Williams then if they were gonna do some stuff like this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I'm sure people looking at booking right now when it comes to like what Tommy Dreamer and what Delirious. I think they're the ones booking this show. So it's like, what are we doing here right now? First off, why do we need these NXT? Like, dude, nobody wants to see these people on TNA. I'm sorry, and this is why I've been talking about this for months when it comes to this quote unquote partnership with WWE right now. What is TNA right now? Is TNA, or is this another developmental league just to send some, like, what, off-brand NXT people here that ain't really getting on no TV time over there, so they gonna send them here? You know, Trick Williams is one thing and maybe a few other people, but nobody, I'm like, who cares about these guys? Let them do nothing on their own show. Don't send them over here. Nobody wants to see this. They don't, okay? And here's the thing, and people have compared this with Kazarian's cash-in. It's like a few years ago what happened with Josh Alexander when he won the world title with Bound for Glory, and then Moose came out, did his Call Your Shot thing, and won the title immediately right there. Here's the difference in this, okay? First off, that happened right there, and there was a show the following week with the aftermath of what happened. This right here made no sense. You had Bound for Glory. You somewhat tried to do that whole cash-in thing at Bound for Glory, but it didn't happen, and Santana won and went on from there. But the fact that you've been off TV for over a month with no type of new episodes but a clip show that come on, and then you have a live episode, and then you pull this off, it's like, what is the point of this? Listen, I'm not even mad at Kazarian with this all the way. The only positive part I can say, at least a TNA guy actually won the world title, and a TNA original. And I like Kazarian. I give Kazarian a lot of credit. Hell, I give him credit for leaving AEW because he knew the writing on the wall for his career over there and came over, back to TNA. And I have to give credit. I think he's been a really good heel on the show. I think it's really worked for him. I know he had to call his shot thing before, and they kind of wasted it there. And a lot of people wonder, like, was he ever going to get his time to be the world champion? Listen, there's a difference. I know people talk about, like, the whole Fortune and everything, all the Fortune members becoming world champion. But here's the thing. I've always liked Kazarian, even in the past, too. But I feel like there's a reason why they never pushed him to get to the world title. I feel like they did at one point, like 2007 or 8 or something, but I think Kurt Angle won the shot. But given the names you had there in the past compared to him, listen, he's not AJ Styles out there. He's not even Bobby Roode or James Storm or anything. I enjoy him in his tag team with, Christopher Daniels and stuff, but it's not like they ever pushed Kazarian to a main event level status that people are going to wonder, is he going to draw for you? Is he going to make money for you? Or are you doing this because, like, okay, we're finally going to give him the world championship just because? And here's the thing. I wouldn't have been mad at this if you waited a later time to do this. Like, I know they're doing the whole, like, between him and Nick Nemeth because they both want to call your shot thing, so who gets to use it? But I guess Nemeth still gets his turn with it. I don't know how that works all the way, okay? But I wish they would have waited a later time and just showed, like, the whole bickering between Kazarian and Nick Nemeth to see how they would either try to cash in on Mike Santana for the world title. I don't think this made any sense here. I really don't. I don't get the meaning of this. Is Santana's contract almost done? I don't know. And I feel like it's just taking steps backwards. Like, what are we doing here? And everybody, let the story play out. Okay, you can't say let the story play out all the time, okay? I get where it's going, but there was no need for this, okay? You took months building Mike Santana up to be the champion. And it's like, we just gonna give it to Kazarian right out of the blue. Okay, like, you can't wait till a later date to do this? So, I didn't like any of this to what I saw, and I saw Turning Point, and I saw them do it again. It's like, once again, why are we having these D-League NXT people? And I'll talk about the Jobber Brigade right here, folks. The Job Squad right here. Who wants to see any of these developmental people on this show? That was the problem when they even started doing this thing. We just see these random D-League people coming out there, just to get some reps on TNA because they don't have enough TV time on NXT. Do that on your own show. That's why people question whether this is a partnership. Hell, I know some people that even feel like it's even worse now than the damn AEW one that was going on at a point in time. But everybody wants to tell you, look at the numbers, look at the numbers, look at the numbers and all that stuff. And I'll get to that in a second too. But is it... Yes, things can be about the numbers, but is it going to keep people still watching the show, though? Really sit there and think about it. But now this brings me into my next point in all of this, with Joe Hendry in a way too. I've seen people bring up because we all know Joe Hendry is now signed with the WWE, which come on, I think we all knew that was going to happen anyways at a certain point in time. Which I believe they've cooled off Joe Hendry at this point, given his multiple times on NXT and what he's been doing lately. Now, what he was feuding with Dark State and now teaming with Scrappy Doo there to go against Ethan Page and them for the mixed AAA tag belts. And even after a while with Joe Hendry too, I feel like he got cooled off a long time ago. I had to sit there and think about, like, wasn't this guy a main eventer at one point early in the year? What happened? Okay, and given his time as the TNA World Champion, I can't say I've talked about this before too. It's like something like he should have had it back at Bound for Glory. Maybe I feel like maybe they should have pulled the trigger there than what they did earlier in the year, Genesis. But yeah, I think I talked about this before when his time as the World Champion. Is that he did really nothing with the title. He just was in open challenges all the. I get the fighting champion thing, but he wasn't in really any real feuds and all that stuff until like the whole Trick Williams stuff, and then we saw what happened there, and that just pissed off more people and everything, and it just. Even the WrestleMania stuff, everybody was, oh, it's the spot, it's the RKO spot, it's the RKO spot. And you have to really sit there, if you are a TNA fan and everything, you have to really sit and really question these things. It's like, how far is this stuff really going to go? I get it was a last minute thing with Randy Orton. I've already talked about this before, but a lot of people kind of wonder, how does this benefit TNA in a way? Yes, your world champion was on WrestleMania and whatnot. Hey, good for Joe Hendry on his part. Like, with Joe Hendry, he got to be on WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble and everything. I'm sure that helps his career just fine. But when you look at TNA, it's like, how is this really helping TNA all the way? Everybody wants to bring up once again the numbers, the RKO spot and stuff. It's like, does it really benefit the company? And that makes you wonder, it's like, what are we really doing here? It's like, what are y'all trying to be right now? Okay, and like I said, with Joe Hendry, it's almost like they cooled him off now. He's not as hot as he once was. Like, yeah, he was really more hotter like last year. And some people, you gotta blame TNA for, like I said, for the booking of him as world champion, and even how they, like I said, this was a guy that really got over, especially with his song and all that stuff, and he got over more and more. Yes, he was a comedy act and everything, but it was getting bigger and bigger, and it was really helping the company out a lot. But it's almost like once WWE kind of got involved, stuff started getting changed around, and it's like, you didn't book him well as the world champion. You really didn't. And after a while, he just ended up getting phased out of TNA, which I was even to the point, I was like, dude, just send him to WWE at this point. I didn't even want to see him on the show anymore with TNA after his time as the world champion, everything that was going on and stuff. So him going to WWE was inevitable, okay? It was. It was going to happen. He kept popping up on NXT more and more and more and more and more, which, once again, I even brought this back up before when it came to this whole partnership. Yes, we see the bigger TNA names on NXT, but when is the big NXT name going to show up on TNA? Yeah, that happened later on and stuff, but I'm sure people are even going to question too. I've said this before. We got all these NXT guys holding the damn TNA titles. Is a TNA guy ever really going to hold the NXT titles? And yeah, you can say, yes, the Hardys end up holding the titles too, but everybody knows the Hardys as, WWE, like, names for the longest time. Yeah, we know the Hardys have been everywhere, but people are always going to associate them with WWE and stuff. So tell me, what TNA homegrown original name has actually held an NXT championship in this quote-unquote partnership and stuff? Really think about that for a second. So it's just a lot of, like I said, it's a lot to really cover and say about this, but I had to come on because, like, given what I just saw on, like, Impact and Turning Point and just, it's like, what are we, like, what's really going on here, okay? Because the Mike Santana stuff was just beyond ridiculous. I don't even get what's going on with that. Some people feel like now the rumor is that AJ Styles will come back to TNA and beat Kazarian for the World Championship. Don't get me wrong. I would like to see AJ Styles be TNA World Champion again in a way. But here's the thing. I'd rather have him face Mike Santana for the title. And maybe Santana will go over him. I don't get where this is going. And I don't know. And maybe Kazarian has a short reign with the title and Santana gets it back. I don't know. Was this just to get people talking on the internet? And just like, oh, man, we got to talk about TNA. There's something big we can talk about. Or could you have went a different way and see who Mike Santana's next opponent was going to be, okay? You built him big enough to be world champion, but then you just take it off of him immediately the minute y'all come back on TV. This shit don't make no sense. It doesn't, okay? So it's like I said multiple times now in previous videos and what I've said here. What is TNA really trying to be right now? Are you guys trying to be TNA, Or are you just trying to be a developmental for WWE right now? Because I can't say it's really a good look. And this definitely doesn't really help their case after what we just saw right here. And like I said, we should have been past this whole invasion. You had a whole show called Invasion with TNA and NXT. So why are we going back into the well of this again against now even lower job guys? Who wants to see this? Nobody wants to see this. It's stupid. It's really freaking stupid. But that's all I got to say. I felt like I had to come on and talk about this because just given what I've seen, what TNA has been doing in the past week and a half now, ever since coming back on TV and Bound for Glory, I can't say it's been in the best of light. I'm not going to go over the rest of the show and everything. Y'all can go watch that and, form your own opinion on that. But I just want to get to the main parts of what was going on with TNA right now. But other than that, that's all I got to say. Comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, HoodedKnight890. I'm out here. I'll see y'all later. Peace out.